All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. I am your host, Phil. This is the monthly live episode. Joining me today, I've got Sir Ulrich and Humble Bitcoiner. Going to bring them both on stage. We are going to go through a little overview here of the 50 million topics we're going to dive into. Here we go.
What's up, Phil?
Ulrich,
how you doing?
Hello.
Humble.
Hi, guys.
What's happening, guys? Big show today. Big show
Big
because
show.
we didn't do one in July, and we skipped it to the first week of August. So we got a whole lot to cover. It's gonna be pretty crazy. Definitely a crazy show. Paper Bitcoin Summer, BTC Core versus Knots, Stablecoin Summer, Chainalysis Fails, El Salvador news. The 4-year Bitcoin cycle is dead. Oh, it's dead. It's dead.
It's a lot of downward pressure.
We thought it was going to be more of a hopium episode, but apparently it's not. Coldcard Seedsigner drama. Can't everyone just get along? Right? Can't we all just get along?
Bitcoin is money for your enemies, man. Bitcoin is
Right?
money for your enemies.
Even when your enemies are not your enemies, apparently. Right?
Right.
Apparently. So it's just kind of weird because as we've seen, seed signers and cold cards, they kind of do work well together. Anyways, I don't want to push the envelope too far on that one. What else are we going to cover today? The digital asset report. We're going to take a look at some videos here. Apparently, we've got this good clip of I don't know if it's a basketball player or football player. I could be totally wrong. It doesn't make a difference. But essentially, Saylor told him to go all in, and he shares some life lessons. We're gonna take a look at that. Yes, that's right. Less self-custody users than before. We are down bad. Elizabeth Warren still crying. And Lopp reminding us we are still somehow down bad. That's right, guys. It's going to be an action-packed show. It's going to be pretty crazy. Got a lot to cover. But first, you know the deal. I'm going to show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor. We're going to be right back.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
All right, guys, head on over to Archimedes Emporium. Check it out. Made by Bitcoiners. It's good stuff. Okay. So the big question is, what do we dive into first? Do we take a look quickly at the maybe we'll take a look quickly at the El Salvador news, right? Maybe we'll start off with that together. Okay. So, as most people may know, right, El Salvador approves indefinite presidential re-election and extends presidential. Oh, we lost Humble.
Where's Humble?
She'll be back. We'll who knows this connection. Anyways, okay. When she comes back, we'll bring her back on stage. She knows what we're talking about anyway. So we know about this, what just happened, right? This seems kind of dictatorial or not. And then again, right? Some people are okay with that. Some people aren't, right? Take that as you may. But you see, at the same time, right? At the same time that is happening, we've got this kind of strange situation happening between the IMF and El Salvador, right? Or maybe in particular, Nayib Bukele. See, the IMF claims that El Salvador hasn't purchased any Bitcoin in a certain amount of time. But you see, Nayib Bukele or whoever it is that manages the Twitter account for El Salvador seems to continue to post that they're purchasing Bitcoin every day. So the question becomes, what the hell is going on? Like, are they both lying? Who's lying? What are your thoughts?
I first of all, I think when with regards to the change in how they do democracy, a lot of people tend to think that democracy is generally a poor way of governing anyways. And I've learned a lot of perspectives on what's a better form of rule from Austrian schools, from the Austrian economists. And so when you look at that, also the honesty of, hey, we have this guy and we like him, and he's going to be here for 6 years instead of 4. And by the way, he can be reelected forever. It's similar to Putin, and it's similar to the United States. Yet the only difference is that the United States pretends like we have, term limits. Meanwhile, of course, we know that Bush is pulling the strings in the background for the Republicans, and the Clintons are pulling the strings in the background for the Democrats, or Obama, or whomever. And so you don't get too far from either of those two instead of coaching trees, political trees, for the last 40, 50 years even. So if anything, El Salvador is just being honest with this is their guy. In regards to the the Chainalysis and is El Salvador buying, when it boils down to it, we as Bitcoiners, we have to not give a damn, really. It's like that their buying is not going to save the network. Bitcoin is no longer the official currency in El Salvador, and Bitcoin is at an all-time high. It didn't go down. It didn't react. Oh my gosh! The IMF said no more Bitcoin. El Salvador complied, and we're still hovering around 110, 120. So, if anything, this is just a lesson to crucify your heroes, to put them in a place where you can say, we can point to them for the good examples that they provide, but you're not going to the Church of Bukele. You're not going going all in on the country of El Salvador. You're not pushing all the chips into them. Otherwise, you will get wrecked. And I'm glad that these types of things happen quickly so people can learn their lessons, because there's a lot of hero worship there. Max Kaiser is pushing a lot of a narrative about this is the center of civilization, the new West and everything. And all it does is show time and time again how they're liars in their own way. They're manipulators and politicians in their own way. And yet still Bitcoin, one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. Welcome back, Humble.
I like
Thanks.
that.
Every time I try to log into the chat, it kicks me out. So I'm like,
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. No, Ulrich was just schooling us. It's just schooling us on the corrupt political system. Going back to El Salvador and the Chainalysis stuff, right, and us not caring. So we're very fortunate. We've got Sani XP, who's probably one of the best Bitcoiners out there, sleuthing the chain, and so he seems to be convinced through his research that essentially the government is just simply moving funds back and forth between wallets, and that is not actually new Bitcoin being purchased. Now, of course, I'm not there, so I have no idea what's real and what isn't. So it then begs the question, right? When we were talking about this before the show. So who's more incentivized to lie here, right? Like the IMF obviously doesn't want to lose face. They're the IMF, right? Like they don't get to have the virtues of Bitcoin, right? Like the hard cap, the 21 million. They've got their stupid SDR product, which is just, a fake money based on a basket of goods that they claim to hold, and a basket of currencies. Sorry, not a basket of goods. So obviously we know who's holding the stronger money, but the point is that like who's more incentivized to lie, right? Nayib Bukele, if they stop buying Bitcoin, like what does that actually mean? And I think this goes back to your point, like, look, it's already been demoted as legal tender, so to speak. Nobody cares. I'm sure there's some people in El Salvador that care, but I am saying in terms of being a Bitcoiner, being a person who's stacking Bitcoin, it changed my life. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Who's really incentivized to lie more here? I don't know. Somebody's lying. Somebody's not telling the truth, right?
Go ahead, Humble. You just got back.
Humble, answer that question right away.
Yeah, just throw me in there. I'm like sitting here trying to okay, which YouTube account do I need to attach the chat to here? So I don't dox myself. Yeah, okay. So I wasn't paying attention to that part of it because I was trying to figure that out and also not get kicked out at the same time.
That's
I apologize.
But no, it's also, really what it boils down to is if they can stack without the IMF bringing the hammer down so they can continue to get their fake money, so be it. Like, I think that's a great idea. But But I think, and again, this is me as a civilian and not as in a public position with the marketing of a nation behind it. You know, the idea of the making yourself an icon is so important. You know, are you a martyr, an icon? You know, you become bigger than yourself. So that one stack, no matter what, you can always, you know, people like have this little hope, and that's why I say, if you crucify your rulers, if you crucify your heroes, you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. But everyone's not at that level, I guess. So it's like he knows that this type of thing is building up for him support. That one Bitcoin every day, or however much they stack, one a week or one a day. I forget the frequency. But I think that, you know, I think honesty is so, and transparency is so important. And that's what that brings the ethos back to Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is fully transparent. Every transaction is on the blockchain, on the time chain. You can see, you don't know who owns what. But it's fully auditable every time a block is mined. And when you think about that, if we try to emulate that a little bit in our daily action, then we can be more Bitcoin than any of the smoke and mirrors that people are trying to do in these leadership positions. You know, when what's her name, Lummis says we're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say that. Just be transparent. Be what you do, what you know you can do. If you can under promise, over deliver, it's like, wow, what a great senator. You know, if Bukele says, hey, you know, this is our stack, we can't do this anymore because of IMF XYZ. But if they do something else to promote Bitcoin in a way that's not boldly stacking and, you know, throwing mud in the face of the IMF who's giving them free money, you know, this is the type of thing that they need to, maybe if they could be smarter about how to promote Bitcoin, it would be, they could still be transparent at the same time. But now it just looks like, well, who's lying? And now they look slimy.
Right.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, I mean, we have to find out. That I think that's the thing that is confusing, that I'll say at this point, is like, I don't understand why we can't just, why isn't the truth there? Like, why are they both saying, like, they're essentially telling the truth about the whole thing? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And transparency is everything. So if you can't do it anymore, you can't do it. Just tell us and leave it at that. And then the IMF looks like the big bad guys, and, you know, everyone can be like, told you so, told you this is going to happen if you messed around with them again, you know, why'd you do that? But here we are.
You know what's interesting? This kind of makes me think of the privacy maxis, right? Like the Monero maxis, and how they talk about how like Bitcoin's like fully traceable and they're going to find out who you are and all this stuff. And it's like, they're having a hell of a time figuring out whether Bukele is actually stacking a Bitcoin or not. So, and that's
and then where's that other coin coming from if they keep on? So he must have been double stacking. So it's like even more bullish than he led on. Imagine that.
All right, we're not El Salvador simps or anything.
No, but
maybe Max Kaiser is just like it's just propping them
put in
up.
the bullish stuff. It's true.
I mean, Tether might have some connections given their relationship there, and you know they're kind of hot and heavy in El Salvador. You know,
Tether definitely has a connection over there. I mean, Max is like the El Salvador spokesperson, right? Max and Stacy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, right? Aren't they at the unconference, right? Paper Bitcoin. Don't forget, guys, it's Paper Bitcoin Summer. But it's okay. Before we get into Paper Bitcoin Summer, we're just going to take a stop first. We're going to take a stop at Bitcoin Core versus Bitcoin Knots territory. This is our boy over here. Well, at least I don't know if he's friends with you guys, but I'm friends with him.
Yeah, he's a buddy.
You know, I don't want to speak for you guys. Maybe you've argued with him or something. But yeah, this is funny stuff, right? Red alert. Bitcoin Core is compromised with malware. Okay, so look, in all fairness, right? I appreciate the spirit of the argument and the debate, and I appreciate you know, the FUD versus FUD, but that's just not true. You know, like I get it, right? Like I get it. Like I also don't want crap on chain, but at the same time, like, Bitcoin is for enemies, and I'm not here to turn this into a Bitcoin Core versus Bitcoin Not space or anything like that. I'm just saying it's not actually true. It's not malware, but I do appreciate the spirit of the argument. So, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this debate, but I just keep watching it. And at this point, there's nothing real coming out of anybody anymore. It's just pure nonsense and memes. And not saying memes aren't real, but just saying like, so nobody really has an argument anymore at this point, right? Like you're just mad. Like you're doing stuff that I don't like and I'm mad. You know, it's
I mean, it's like he was thinking about it one day and he's just like, he got really mad and then he's just like, you know what, this is like malware, that's what it is. And then he's like, I'm gonna put a tweet out about that, you know. I mean, that's what I envision. It's like,
it got my attention,
you know. It's like, cool, you know. I mean, we do that, right? We sit there and we're like, wait a minute, it's kind of like this, isn't it? And then just tweet it out there and some people understand. Yeah. So
UTXO has it right over here. Clever name, UTXO.
That's a very nice name.
That is
very well done.
Nice.
Oh. You the T and your X. Oh, do something. That's some drama.
That's not a nice.
Oh no, JT, it's okay. Look, this dude, FUD fighting FUD, man. That's all it is. It's at this point, there's really nothing going on. You know, yeah, exactly. JD, his art is great, and that's okay. I'm totally derailing the show, but who cares? It's our show, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, his art is definitely great. He's going to be coming on the show. He's going to be talking about the new project that he's doing, right? Fractal Encrypt. His Genesis statue is going to be the main piece for the first Bitcoin the Bitcoin art magazine issue that they do. So he's going to be talking about that. That should be very cool. And I'm honored to.
Didn't they just do the Stack Chain? Was that the same? Yeah, the Stack Chain magazine. The cover of that.
But now they're doing their own Bitcoin art magazine, which is
I saw that. Yeah,
I love seeing this.
I know, and it's very like luxe looking. The little black and white. I don't know if you clicked on their profile to take a look at it. It's pretty cool. I like it. It's good.
Grassroots stuff. This is good stuff. This is what I like to see. That's right. I'm not like a big suits dude. I'm more of a grassroots person who likes to see this type of stuff, you know. So.
I know. I mean, it was super cool to see that. I mean, there's a lot of like artists and there's a lot of artists. So, you know, it's a good mix of people here.
It is. All right, guys, get ready. It's time for Paper Bitcoin Summer. Ooh. And we're going to kick it off with a video from Yellow. Right, of course, it's the Yellow puppet that makes this. We're gonna kick this off, guys. Just want to prepare you. There's some offensive language in this video. I do apologize if you are offended. Sorry.
So not good with kids in the room.
Not good with kids in the room, but like maybe older kids, you have to explain things to them, and they may get offended too. But anyways, it's probably just good for adults. I don't think
goes our impressions.
This is sorry, dude. I mean, in all fairness, though, this topic is not really for kids. Like I remember when I was 13, I didn't give a shit about finance or money or anything. That was my dad and mom's job. You know, it wasn't my job. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Let's put this. Let's watch this video. Kick off Paper Bitcoin Summer segment.
Incredible. What is it? I have been getting laid 1,500% more in the last months. You have to get into this, dude.
1,500%. What are you, gay now? What are you, gay now? Exactly.
Nah, for real, what is it? I'm gay. It's way easier to get laid.
Wait, what the fuck? It's the newest play. I'm outperforming all my old straight numbers. But you're sucking cock.
I knew it. I knew you would attack me like this. You're so close-minded.
Stop excluding me with your toxicity of you're not sucking cock.
Are you happy with your 40% straight way? Sucking coke outperforms that. Stop being such a loser.
Honey, you're an OG straight maxis. Now you are gay?
You straight maxis are so dumb.
I need gay flow in order to stack more numbers. You just don't get it.
My BPS, body count per sex, is through the roof. Plus my MNAV, mark to net asset value, is also pumping.
We are actually Trojan horsing the HEM with ponies.
Being straight is so old news. You should try gay stuff, that's the future.
But still.
You're sucking cock, dude.
All right. Well, we're done offending everybody here. That's right. Kicking off Paper Bitcoin Summer with that video. And yeah, that's right. It's wild times. If you are spending any time in Bitcoin on Bitcoin Twitter, you know that it's getting weird out there, right? There's people chanting that they're Bitcoiners, but at the same time, you've got weird posts like this. I own 0 BTC because I'm a fully ported IBIT and MSTR calls triple maxi status.
Oh.
You might remember Gladiator like 6 months ago. He was all excited. He was running a node. Now he's progressed. He's become he's grown the full spectrum of Bitcoiner and become this paper Bitcoin maxi. Yeah. So guys, as you know, Paper Bitcoin Summer is here, and the businesses are the ones that pretty much don't have a leg to stand on for the most part are buying Bitcoin as a last hurrah to try to, kick the can down the road. And we're here to help them out by advertising them and talking about how wonderful of an opportunity this is. So here's this company. Vulcan Inc. has initiated a Bitcoin treasury strategy funded by a $500 million stock sale. That is fantastic. Issuing debt to buy Bitcoin that they can't afford to hold. This is so good. This guy seems familiar. I feel like I've seen him on one of those Netflix train wreck shows, but I could be wrong. Yeah, entertainment technology platform company Live One. Price is $8.9 million. Oh, look, public offering. Oh, no way. They're selling shares. Do you guys believe it?
So here's the funny thing with that tweet right there, that if you scroll through the replies, that guy is actually not the CEO for the company that they're talking about, Live One. Okay, good. Yeah.
He's actually AI
like
character?
That guy responded and said, I don't know why you're using my picture, but I'm not the CEO for Live One.
Oh my God.
He's a company. He owns some other company, but yeah, Bitcoin News, just, kind of lazy. They're too big to be that lazy. But again, I guess what's the algorithm? You need to show, some cutting edge, guru that's planning, that's running the playbook, because if just a picture is running the playbook, it's not cool. It has to be, it has to be the next big young 30 under 30 or something.
It is just ridiculous. But wait, there's more. This is actually my favorite one out of all of them, right? Because this is pure capitulation. Gold miner, Gold Limited announces it will add Bitcoin to its treasury. That is pure capitulation. So talk about Peter Schiff, like the mental gymnastics that are happening. Like you have a gold company that is now going to use the circus of Bitcoin treasury in order to save itself. It's like, this is... Anyways,
isn't that what he's kind of doing when he's asking for Bitcoin donations? Because he gives the wallet address and he's like, if you want to donate, go ahead. And then he's like, Bitcoin is bad, it's terrible. But yeah, send me some Bitcoin to my wallet if you feel like donating. Really great. Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, at this point, we kind of know that, or at least I think I assume that he's just, he does this strictly for marketing, right? Like
WWE stuff.
Yeah.
He's Vince McMahon.
Exactly.
Yeah. He has to remain relevant, and this is how he remains relevant.
Dude, I mean, I would go to the Swan events, the local Swan events, and I remember Natalie Brunell was sitting there talking to me how her and Peter Schiff are such good friends, and you can even see it. They don't even hide it. Like they're like, anytime he's involved with Bitcoin, she's always talking to him. So he has definitely bled his algorithm and impressions onto her when she was starting off. But I mean, even the what's his name, Pompliano, like they're all super close. Like they're not at odds with each other. They go on stage to create artificial conflict. I think it was easy to know when his son was heavy into Bitcoin before he allegedly went off the deep end and went into AI. Did he make the wrong choice, right choice? It's funny. I don't know, but maybe he has accesses to early investors for AI stuff. But the catch is that family was never anti-Bitcoin. And for us to sit around and like that type of false engagement, it just goes to show that a lot of us are here just for strict entertainment. We're not really here to change anything. You know, it's like when you know, Malcolm X lining up outside of a government building with a bunch of, of his followers. And they, you know, if you see that scene in the movie and they're just hard nosed, like discipline, and they're all about making a change. And when I first came into Bitcoin, you know, it's like, oh, that's what I could see that there was evidence of that. But the longer I stay, the more I see people shifting to full clown world, or shifting to full paper Bitcoin, suit coiner. And there are very, very few of the militant minded people who are actually here to change things. It's disappointing, but again, you know, we all have our incentives.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be like, I feel blessed that I got in before paper Bitcoin. Like, you know, yep. I came here because of the revolution, you know, and I know some people are like, oh, it's not a revolution. Well, to me, it is actually. So, you know, everyone gets in for their own reasons. And to me, that was a pretty significant reason. So it's hard to just let that go, you know. It's definitely interesting to see people, I guess you could say, fall from their hard-nosed stances that they held.
Yeah. I mean, look, in all fairness, I've seen it every cycle, right? You see it every cycle. It's people that and in all fairness, you'll end up seeing some people that come to the space. They say all the right things, very well spoken. They're very confident and all that good stuff. And it's all just a long con. Unfortunately, a long or a short con, whatever you want, you know, whatever it is that they're planning to do. But unfortunately, that's just what it is, right? It's a means to an end, right? Like, this is just hey, look, you know, this is like a story that I could tell that's convenient right now until it gets me to the next story that I could tell that's convenient right at that time. So it's just unfortunate, you know, and that's why there's so many
log scale. Remember log scale.
Or,
remember Jason Lowry. It's fun to see these people that come in
grifters some sort of right now.
And they are bounced out quickly. And I can't wait to see the next bucket of grifters and simpfluencers get bounced out sometime next year. They're going to bounce themselves out because they were wrong, they were lying, and people who put a lot of faith in them put a whole lot of monetary energy in what they were saying, not listening to people like the Pleb Underground. You know, they're going to be calling for those people's heads, and we're going to be here saying, look, we told you so. And in love, because we want people to be on a firm foundation so you can weather the storms that will come. And the storms are not just economic volatility, but it's also liars and thieves that come in the night to flat out just take everything that you have.
Oh, go ahead, Phil. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was quickly going to say, but they do it smiling, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, so then what I would have to say goes along with that. It reminds me of the NFT cycle, you know, like all of these different companies that are getting in, and it's like a new one every single day. So it's like, oh, a Bitcoin treasury company. Now this company's doing it. All these companies you've never even heard of before. And all of a sudden it's just like all this attention is on them and focused because it's like, oh, Bitcoin, what? Oh, cool. They're Bitcoiners. They're into Bitcoin. They understand what Bitcoin's all about. It's like, no, they don't. A lot of them actually, you know, right? It's like,
yeah.
So yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And you know what, to your point, right? Let's take a look. 145 publicly traded companies actively buying Bitcoin.
It's unreal. Gosh,
growing every
point. What was that tipping point right there? What month was that?
Over here, it's like in between June and July. Or are you talking about right here?
The green, yeah,
that's probably right. That's probably like maybe May 2025, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
you know, I want people to
look
around that time.
But let's just like draw the line in the sand, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an issue, and I think you guys would agree with this as well. Like, I don't have an issue with businesses actually buying Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Businesses who are trying to stop their ice cube from melting, right? The cash that they have sitting on the side that they are not using to pay their bills, that they do not need possibly for years into the future or for an emergency, right? Like those businesses choosing to convert that cash into Bitcoin, I'm thrilled. I think that's fantastic. Absolutely. But of course, Bitcoin is for enemies. Bitcoin is for anyone that wants to use it. So of course it's going to be as well businesses that are using it as a circus pony, right? And that's kind of the, that's kind of the point, right? Like, I think maybe I'd like to say what I don't support is businesses using it as a one-trick pony. However, I understand that this is part of quote unquote hyper Bitcoinization and adoption in asterisks.
Oh.
There's something about that post that you made. 130 something companies buying Bitcoin. When those companies announce that their actions in the economy with regards to Bitcoin, they're not saying buying. Oftentimes they're saying the word acquired. And you have to wonder, like, well, what does that mean? And this point that I'm thinking about kind of came from the space that you talked to me about, Phil, where you were sitting in there. This guy was trying to basically social, like a public, like farm some investors for his low-end Bitcoin treasury company, where he was asking for $6,000 from anyone who would be able to. So they're asking for a fraction of funds so they can maybe purchase Bitcoin, so they can say, hey, we have this Bitcoin so we can go public. But when you've heard about the rumors of these OGs giving their Bitcoin to these companies in exchange for shares, well, when a company, a SPAC or whatever have you, says like, hey, we acquired 50,000 Bitcoin, doesn't matter if they purchased it or gave it or acquired it and then gave someone with a lot of Bitcoin some shares. If they exchange an asset swap, is either money or shares. But if they always use the term acquired, you don't know if money is if fiat is actually going into the Bitcoin network, or if it's just a swap with essentially valueless shares. And then it's like, if they all say acquired, we don't know, like, and maybe that's the reason why we say, oh, look at all the money, look at all the companies that bought Bitcoin. Well, we're assuming they just acquired it. You don't know how they acquired it. They could have found it. When the United States holds 200,000 Bitcoin or 130,000, however much they own now, is that any price action? Do you see price action? Oh, wow, all those coins off the exchange. I think that's a very important point to register for people that thought that the bull market that we're going to up forever because all these companies are buying Bitcoin. Remember, Loomis said something about net. What did she say? Net zero or zero impact, net zero dollar impact on trying to acquire Bitcoin, whether they acquire from criminals, whether they whether they tax people and they can give them Bitcoin. None of all these entities are trying to get Bitcoin for as little dollar purchasing power as possible. And all that does is for us poors, for us regulars, we have to go to the exchange. We have to go to Coinbase, Strike, whomever, a miner. I think we got the wool pulled over our eyes because we thought it was going to go to 700,000, 800,000 this cycle because all the companies were coming, the institutions were coming. The institutions come with their connections to get something for nothing. That's how they become institutions in the first place.
They've already got the keys to the kingdom, right? It's the Bitcoiners that are actually asking for it. They're actually asking for the keys. They're like, you know what? I'd like to come into the kingdom. Like, well, it's no problem. Here's your price, right? Here's the fee that you're going to pay to come and play. So it's okay. Let's, you know what? This is where I kind of go back to the idea. You know what? Like, yeah, Bitcoin fixes the money 100%, but guess what? It's not fixing human incentives. Humans are still we're still greedy, stupid, fearful, all of those things. Okay. So until we start to learn how to deal with those things, we're still going to be doing stupid things. We're still going to have a bunch of people that are going to go out and shill total garbage just because they don't want to wait for 700K Bitcoin. They want their 700K Bitcoin today. And you know what? It's at the expense of you, little pleb, who I got the stack. There you go. Right? People like you and me. Well, there you go. We can fucking wait for our 700K Bitcoin. They're getting theirs today. So anyways, that's okay. Right? This is the nature of the beast. This is the markets, free markets. Right? And on that note, with all of these businesses that are buying Bitcoin and paper Bitcoin, it's so amazing. You'd imagine that there has to be some way to capitalize on this. You'd say, Phil, there's got to be a conference. And of course, there is. There's the unconference. Unfortunately, we can't play the song that they played because copyright and YouTube. But here's a peek of the video of the people that are going to be shilling to you more paper Bitcoin. Enjoy. Jeff Walton, no surprise. Raekwon, who disappeared. That was fun.
He sure did.
Sure did.
Now he's back, I guess, right?
What happened? What happened to the old conference? Oh, I left it. Sorry. Yeah, there you go, guys. I suck. Started it at the end.
Stop pushing buttons.
Obviously, Saylor. Yeah, I can't even push buttons right. There you go.
Ed Julian.
Max, of course. Stacy, of course.
Anders. Wait, that's not Haley.
I know. None of this even looks like.
Wait. Why are these people? Hold on, that's Katniss. that was Katniss at the end. Eleanor Trippett looked like
my favorite. That is absolutely my favorite, right? Like you're going to it's such a freaking marketing event. It's just, and of course, like I know. What did you think it was going to be? No, I didn't think it was going to be anything else. It's just absolutely
not wearing a suit in that.
Yeah,
that is weird. Hold on, why are they like? Why not be their real selves? Why is everyone AI'd up? Like,
because that's what the world is, man. The world is just a clown world.
Why are they all pretending like they have good genes, like me and Sydney Sweeney? Come on now, man. They can't.
Is that why you're wearing the jean jacket today? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I'm supporting Sydney, man. We have good genes.
We should have.
Where are your guys' jeans, man?
I
live in sweatpants, to be honest. my uniform is sweatpants and a t-shirt.
You would fit in California, man.
Yeah, well, I'm in Florida, so it's perfect. It's the same exact
thing.
Here they expect us to be wearing shorts, which I don't get.
I have shorts on, and
that is that's so fake. Like, and why is it an unconference? If anything, it's a conference squared. Like, it can't be any more. Like, what are they going to talk about?
That is so corporate. It's like it's insane. Like, I actually think the name is gaslighting. It's gaslighting. You're absolutely right. Like, that is a gaslighting name.
They can't sell any value. What's the value proposition? What is it? What is the underlying reason that those things think that they could go up in the first place? It's like, I don't even I would just think that they could get enough of that from the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas, but I guess you have to do more, because how else are they going to convince people to buy whatever the hell are we buying again? And mind you, look, this is me coming from a person who has MicroStrategy. You know, I understand, but when I bought it, there was a value proposition. I'm like, oh wow, you know, people can't get Bitcoin. A whole lot of people have Charles Schwab and Robinhood and TD Ameritrade, but not a lot of people have Coinbase. So maybe they'll use this as a proxy, especially as GBTC was dying. But guess what? Then all of these companies come around. Then IBIT comes around at FBTC, and now all of those are going to be they're going to be returning in kind. I don't know if we talk about that later, but it's like when you think about the marketing perspective of a Bitcoin treasury company, and that it can't even do good numbers in the best. Who said that? Corbin, Corbin, if you watching our show,
you are.
Oh yeah. You already know. I say every time I mention that, I forgot to mention I am selling that by December. I am locked in. All my
Is that when you're going to buy winter?
Expires in December. I'm not going any further.
That's when you're supposed to buy winter, I think.
He is. Yeah, but it's like the value proposition when it's supposed to be pumping, when the MNAVs are supposed to be going up and up and up from November when he announced the playbook to June. We talked about this when we interviewed Pierre Richard. He had no answer to this. It's been flat. It's been flat, and they always want to say, "Oh, back when MicroStrategy first bought in 2020, the conditions are different. You know, the formula's changed. The environment, the economic environment, is no longer the same as it was in 2020. So why don't you talk about when the playbook was announced? Why don't you talk about when in 2025 year over year? Because they want you to zone in to this particular time frame where it looks good. It's no different than someone handpicking, say, oh, look, Bitcoin went down after 2021 and now it's 2023. Bitcoin is down 50%. But if you zoom out, in some instances, you need to zoom in because the story has changed. The conditions have changed. MicroStrategy now isn't what MicroStrategy was in 2020. But we don't want to talk about that.
No. Speaking of which, we're gonna move on over here to more Michael Saylor stuff. Of course, I figure why not? We'll finish this segment before we move on to some other stuff. And this is an interesting video here of giant shock. Bitcoin is demonetizing everything.
Public equity, other sorts of store of value. Bitcoin is demonetizing foreign real estate, private equity, public equity, other sorts of store of value assets everywhere in the world. 20th century physical analog assets are becoming 21st century digital assets. These companies like Apple and Microsoft, if they could buy the S&P index, they'd be better off. It's against SEC rules. Right. If they could buy each other's securities, if the Mag 7 could buy each other's securities, they would be better off. That's against SEC rules. The only security Apple can buy is Apple stock. And what do? They buy their own security. So, in general, if you're trying to create shareholder value, you don't want to park it in a fiat currency. You want to park it in a tangible asset. But gold and real estate don't make sense.
Did you ever see,
Yeah, that was the end of that clip. Okay. So probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't really care. Everybody's at different stages in their lives. And the truth of the matter is that although like Bitcoin absolutely offers, in my particular case, the highest, most insane freaking growth that I ever could have imagined in terms of the retention and growth of my purchasing power. Okay. That being said, that was extremely useful to me and is still mostly useful to me now. However, going forward, as I become older, okay, and I don't want to spend my entire day working, specifically doing maybe a job that I maybe don't enjoy that much or something like that. So unfortunately, having real estate or having properties that generate income, it's not the same value proposition as Bitcoin. It's not the same thing. So I don't disagree that over time, right, like against Bitcoin, real estate is 100% going down. Like there is no question there because Bitcoin's going up forever. Like there's no question because fiat gets printed forever. So the idea that real estate is somehow going to become obsolete in the future as an investment vehicle, I don't actually buy it. But I do buy the narrative that it is going to be significantly devalued against Bitcoin. However, it will have a different use case and a different purpose. And I think we're starting to, first of all, if you already were purchasing real estate, you were already very much aware of that use case. But in terms of Bitcoiners who pretend that the only thing that matters is Bitcoin, that pretend like for whatever reason that you're living till infinity, which none of us are, at some point your needs change and your financial picture changes, and not all of us live the same life. And I know that's very difficult for extremists with one particular view to hear, but it's true. So, there's going to be these other products. They do have their market fit. They do have their use case. They are valuable in terms of the real world. Sorry. Done with my rant. Any thoughts on the real estate Bitcoin use case thingy? Is it dead?
Humble, why won't you go second?
I think you guys were frozen.
I feel like I was interrupting everybody. You're just looking, whatever. Fine, I'll go. Okay. I think yes, they have different use cases. Obviously, real estate is not a wonderful investment, but I would like to own a home. I own a home, you know, and I would like to continue owning. I don't like that uncertainty of, you know, yeah, because with what's happening with inflation and the fact that you can be renting from somebody and they can at any moment in time decide to raise your rent. Other things can, you know, come into play. They can actually have their property foreclosed. I mean, there are so many different things where I don't like having absolutely no control, right? You know, I mean, I get it. And I know that it works great. What in Denmark, there's a country where all they do is they rent, but it's a different environment there as well. And people seem to be doing very well financially. But in the American, you know, the lifestyle that we have here and the fact that we do have 30-year mortgages, I mean, other countries would just kill to be able to have that. You know, we do have that. And if you're able to have a fixed rate and have that sense of security and not have to worry about moving and being kind of a nomad, we have different needs. We really do. And for a family, I think it makes sense to get, you know, your risk down, improve it, you know, maybe put some money into it. Just don't get a money pit like I did, because that, you know, it's fun and it's going to be fine. But yeah. I think security is very important. And I know that's a lot more important for women as well. And we are in a male dominated Bitcoin space. So maybe that's why real estate is kind of like, I also wanted to comment on his banker's vest. I don't know if you noticed he was wearing that nice little banker's vest on the show.
Ooh, he was.
You see that? Little shiny. Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Side note.
It's a new look.
I went second. That's my take. It's your turn.
Fine. I think it's funny how Saylor threw in, you know, these just like when they announced they acquire Bitcoin, the treasury companies acquire Bitcoin. He explicitly said foreign real estate. I tell you, when I came into Bitcoin, you know, when I came into Bitcoin, then saw it going up. Let me start listening to podcasts. My buddy says, you should listen to Robert Breedlove and Michael Saylor. I said, I'll listen to Robert Breedlove and Michael Saylor. He said, he didn't say foreign real estate back then. He just said real estate. So it's funny how, as he's changed into this potential, you know, state participant, state actor, that he says foreign real estate, because heaven forbid, you know, you say Bitcoin is attacking U.S. real estate. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac depend on that to keep on going up. You can't say that Bitcoin is going to demonetize that. And you certainly can't say Bitcoin is going to demonetize the US dollar but guess what? He says the dollar is definitely going to stay, and now US real estate is going to stay. The incremental change to say Bitcoin is not stronger than all of these other things. Now, I'll say that real estate, again, as real estate turned into a store of value because of the lack of value that our money had in the first place. You know, when we got off of gold standard, we started drifting away from a hard money, and it's like, look, we can't just put dollars under our bed. You know, it's going to whittle away into nothing. So people had to go buy hard assets, scarce assets. I do believe that if someone were to say, hey, I have the opportunity, the privilege to own 5 houses, that perhaps in a Bitcoin standardized world, in a hyper Bitcoinized world, closer to that time frame, they could say, you know, instead of 5 houses, I could potentially buy 2 or 3 houses, and then the rest of it, I'd park it into Bitcoin because it's such a reliable form of savings. And guess what? Maybe fiat's still around, and maybe they may get a few gains from a CAGR perspective. But look, at the end of the day, like, we need our like you said, Phil, our needs change. And like I think UTXO said, where you live in the world, your needs are different. In fact, in Argentina, people were buying bricks because they would buy bricks in order to store up for themselves a way to build a house or build a structure, because they can't save long enough to just say, okay, one day I'll just save for a year or two and then by that time it's gone. So they have to buy brick by brick before the money deflates before their very eyes. So we all live in these different domains, and we all have our different incentives within our domains. But look, Bitcoin is not the be all end all. Don't listen to the cult. It is a very, very important thing, especially for the people of our generations, the younger Gen X's, the millennials, the older Gen Zs. We're seeing a massive change in how we view money, massive change in in wealth ownership, and we need to make sure we capitalize that appropriately for each of our age ranges and our risk profiles and our financial expectations.
Well, we have to work smarter now, not harder, because harder worked for boomers.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't actually work anymore, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's just, yeah.
And you just can't be a teacher. In fact, a teacher, I remember telling this to my boss, a teacher back in 1960, in terms of the equivalency to M2 money supply, their earnings, in terms of their earnings as a share of the economy, was like 60 times more than now. So you wonder why a teacher back in the day could afford a house and maybe even not have his wife work if he is a teacher. And if she was a teacher, they were really balling out, you know, a double income back then. The world has changed, and people who recognize it will be rewarded.
Call me crazy, but it's almost as though society valued teaching back then because they understood that those little people were eventually going to become adults.
Low time preference.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy how that happens.
But remember, when the teachers are beholden to the government, you know, the government valued that. They had a better perspective than they do now. Now their perspective is, these losers will do anything we say. They'll bark for a little bit, and then they'll go back to their place. Bitcoin was supposed to be the revolution, but guess what? Paper Bitcoin Summer.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what, to your point about the brick by brick, Bitcoin's the brick, right? So we've got one brick. Now we just, right? So you got to keep stacking as time goes on because we can't wait to save it all up to then use it. Like we've got this one tool, we're going to use it until like we get ourselves to the next tool.
Well, we have to have our own little philosophy of what is it? Live today like nobody, so you can live tomorrow like nobody. Like who was that guy? There's like this finance guy who's like.
I know something very close to that.
Live today for tomorrow, you'll die.
No. The guy who's like, he's like, sell everything, pay off all your bills. He's got that. He's a freaking financial.
Yeah. No, that's David Ramsey.
Yeah.
No, I talk about him all the time because he's like the Christian, like influencer, like financial influencer. My mom, I grew up listening to him. You know, my mom was listening to like worship music, and then Dave Ramsey would come on. It's like, this is how you do finance, and it's like, this is how. And it's like, oh yeah, this is smart. Oh, those people are so like. All he does is have a poor people circus. Like it's a poor people circus. I don't even think he claims to be a Christian anymore. It's just like he's a clown. And he's been clowning on Bitcoin for 10 years ever since he heard about it. Because guess what? He's already rich. He isn't. Why does he need to take that risk? He has plenty of profit.
Yeah.
So he clowns on people who made a good decision, and then it's like, well, you know, as long he can sit on his high horse in his white tower because he has it. So the best thing we can do is ignore people like that. I was talking to Phil the other day. That some economist was being interviewed by someone. One of the Bitcoiners posted this, but it's like he's like, dude, Bitcoin's 13,000 in my group chat. Like now it's 120,000. It's 10x. Like,
oh yeah,
where does Bitcoin go now? And I'm like, nope. If you're talking 10 years, for 10 years you've been shitting on Bitcoin, and then you're saying, well, where does Bitcoin go now? If you're a GM on a basketball team and you miss out on a draft pick that became a superstar 5 years and you chose not to pick him when he was the obvious pick, guess what? You don't get to make that next pick. You get fired. So an economist who says, oh, well, I could just keep on saying Bitcoin is bad until and ad infinitum, Peter Schiff, Nouriel Rubini. No, those people should be fired from your, say what?
Paul Krugman,
Jamie Dimon. People need to stop listening to these people. The more impressions you give them, the more you validate them, because they have already lost their ability to give you sound advice, because if you listen to them, they wreck you. Think about that. We should stop listening to people that give us bad advice.
Well, you feel very strongly about Dave Ramsey. We should have a longer conversation about that someday. But I don't follow his plan, but I like the idea of living within your means. Right.
Yeah.
And because most, especially Gen X, that's not our thing, you know, bad debt everywhere. So I like that idea.
Yeah, I agree. I had to learn that on. I had to learn that on my own. I did not have good examples from my parents or
It's hard.
really anybody around me. Like it was one of those things where even my parents, right? They didn't know better, and so like I had to know enough to figure out and be like, hey, that way that person handles their finances, that's a smarter way of doing it. I should be paying attention to what they do, right? Like, but I had to know that already to be like, this is right and this is wrong. So it's, anyways. All right, moving on.
Yeah, my parents are great, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't fun.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think I'm gonna have fun. Oh, this is what it feels like. Never mind. Yeah,
that's okay. Right. It's normal to lose power here and there. Mm-hmm. Anyways, when there's no storm. But moving on, we can go to the next topic, which is Chainalysis. All right, so this was a great post. This is a retweet. I'm going to show you guys the full thing in a second here. The post I'm talking about, the post. I'd like to report a murder at not a real murder at Peter K. Todd eviscerates the reliability of chain analysis. And guys, so this is just like an homage to these chain analysis or chain analysis companies. Right, I'm not gonna go read the whole entire thing. I just want to have a portion of it here, and here
it's
we go.
That thing is kind of like the scenario where the guy exposes what BlackRock is doing or exposes what Pfizer is doing, and it's like when they think they're on a date, but they're really getting exposed by that guy, that undercover journalist. So it's almost like this situation. They're outing themselves right here.
Yeah, they're having like a drunken conversation, and the gentleman working for the chain analysis company explained like this. He goes, so the story goes, I've even had a founder of a chain analysis competitor drunkenly brag to me over dinner that his product was a total scam that didn't do any real chain analysis at all. The real purpose of this product was to give police cover to throw people in jail as well as allow exchanges. This is my favorite part. To meet AML, KYC, checkbox requirements. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, because once you check those boxes, you can commit any crime. It's fantastic. Anyways, Chainalysis themselves has gone to great lengths to hide how their product actually works. In court cases, it's highly likely that Chainalysis' product does not, in fact, work reliably. And yet, somehow, we as peons are subject to this shit because a bunch of like either authoritarian aristocrats or whatever the hell it is, these elite people that believe that because they find these products, it makes them feel good about themselves, right? It confirms their biases, and then they use these tools that don't work to imprison people. It's just like we live in such a clown world. It's so scary. It really is.
This is indirectly related to. By the way, someone make sure we check on the. I may have heard some echo, but like this is indirectly related to that Tornado Cash court case, and it's like, you know, what a revelation. Whirlpool. I'm sorry. It's what a revelation though. It's like when we see that we think that these tools, like now Bitcoin is cornered because now they can track you, and it's like, no, that stuff is really, really, really difficult still, and these companies just happen to be really good marketers, really good salesmen. And the people who are purchasing this information, the government is really stupid. I know. Trust me, I know. You can look at my LinkedIn. Okay. Like the government isn't that smart. They're smart enough to a degree. They got a lot of reach, but you know, there's a lot of athletes that have a lot of reach and no skill, and reach and length can only take you so far. So I think that this is a eye-opening, and I think it's bullish for Bitcoin, and especially when it comes down to the privacy advocates that want to change the code to make it more private or do something. No, it's like we're good right now. Like maybe in the future you add something. Bitcoin is obviously upgradable and programmable, but from this revelation, it seems like these people don't have a leg to stand on, yet still the government will use whatever they can to work out whatever incentives they want. And there's no escaping that.
This reminds me very much. Oh, sorry, Humble, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention I was zoning out. I was trying to find a post that I had because if I remember correctly, well, I don't know which bank it was, but I want to say it was JP Morgan. Maybe you guys, this will ring a bell around FTX time when that collapsed. Like prior to it collapsing, there was actually a Chainalysis type company that was purchased by I believe JP Morgan. I would have to go back and take a look. Does that ring a bell, Phil?
It totally does. It totally.
Yeah. And it was like, whoa, well, that's convenient timing right before this all happened, you know? But yeah, again, I don't like saying a company's name without like knowing for sure, but I can't find it immediately. So it was a major bank. And I was like, oh, wow. So this has been going on for a while. I mean, it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't they? I mean, these different players that are involved, you know, they're proposing to these exchanges what they can do. And there's a lot of corruption out there.
It's also, I mean, I don't know if it has to do with like the myth of expertise or whatever, but like it just reminds me, like there are people who essentially claim to be experts in a field. Okay. And the reason they are experts is because they are the most learned or the most educated in that field, right? Or they have a degree of experience and education that far surpasses anybody else, or is equivalent to other people, which are also considered to be of this like higher echelon. But that doesn't mean they actually know everything about the topic that they're talking about. So this whole idea that we place this importance in this expertise of Chainalysis, to me, the problem that I have is that I know for a fact that we have extremely sophisticated technology that, for real, almost nobody can properly understand or explain how it works, and yet we are using it to facilitate some of the most complex functions that people are doing out there. Let's say, for example, in like building automation or something like that, right? Or even in like, you know, mission critical applications like hospitals, right? And that's a pretty scary thought, right? Because that's a mission critical place, right? A hospital is not a place where you want to find out that some technology that you've implemented doesn't work, right? Like Chainalysis or something like that, and find out that for whatever reason, you know, you're diagnosing all of these patients wrong because, you know, you trusted this thing. But the reality is that's what's actually happening, because we actually confer this false sense of, I guess, I don't even know if it's like security or whatever it is, or it's like this false sense of hubris in our own ability to be experts. And it's like, we don't know it all. Like, we really don't know it all. So like, I get that there's lots of companies out there attempting to do Chainalysis, right? That's fantastic. And I'm sure that a certain percentage of what they're doing is fantastic, but it's just real shitty that we can actually sell services to the government, and the government will use these services to then prosecute individuals and like take away the really like time, right? Like, let's be honest, right? Like that's what it is. Like jail, like it robs you of time. It's the most important thing we have. So like, and we're trusting it to like,
well, it's taking away life because they're imprisoning them. They're taking away life, taking away time. It's another life critical. And you say mission critical, I would say life critical, because it's funny because my industry, we separate mission critical from life critical. You know, a requirement, if you will. But it's like that one right there, like the hospitals, I would consider that life critical. If you mess up with whatever function, someone dies. The system doesn't just fail, like someone dies. And if in this situation, if you wrongly accuse them based on this Chainalysis, that person goes away and they are essentially dead to society, which is essentially near death. I mean, it's freedom, life, liberty. You know, what are we talking about here?
Choice, right? You take away their ability to make choices, right? Like this is like kind of like the essentially like the worst wrong almost that any human can do to another human is to take away their ability to make those choices, right? Like that's what happens, unfortunately, when there's like abusive situations, when, right, we're talking about, God forbid, right, somebody, you know, gets killed or something like that. Like that's what happened. Every single choice that person could have ever made has now been taken. So it's, I don't know, man, not trusting that shit, the Chainalysis. Anyways, don't worry. Bitcoin's fixing all of this, okay? We can talk about all these terrible things and be like, it's all falling apart. Bitcoin's going to fix it. However, okay. Anyways, any final comments on that depressing segment that probably wasn't meant to be depressing, but that's what happens when you don't have a script. Shit happens. So, No, nothing else. Moving on. All right. Moving on. We are going to take a look. You know what? Let's do the yeah, you know what? Let's do the 4-year cycles are dead before we do unless you guys want to talk about the stable Bitcoin summer.
This time is different. Do tell.
No, not this time. It's different. Okay, fine. We'll do the 4-year cycle. Let's do the 4-year cycle. Hey, thank you, Bitcoin Pod. We appreciate it. Let's fucking go. Sorry, trying not to swear. I screwed that up. Okay.
Anyway. The algorithm, Phil.
I know. I'm trying not to. Anyways, okay. Fudging. Okay, so
I say one thing about the Iran-Israel war and
It just did it. There you go. All right.
There you go. See what you just did to us? That's it.
Oh, no,
now it's over. Now we're done. Okay, so if right, for the Bitcoiners out there who are on Twitter, if you're not following TXMC Trades, yeah, he posts a lot of stuff that probably is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. It's often objective and other times real and based on, it sounds crazy, personal experience and history. I know it's wild. It's not just stuff that feels good. All right, so anyways, here we go. With respect, crypto never had its own special 4-year cycle. That's for true. This is misunderstood. Bear markets and risk cycles are ubiquitous and have been since the beginning of price for BTC. The ETFs didn't change that, but they did tighten the relationship with TradFi. Yeah. I don't think the 4-year cycles are dead. And it's the same thing that I've been saying the whole time. Humans are still humans. Like that's what's happening here. Like people are still people. So this idea that all of a sudden, because we've got institutions which are made up of, well, you guessed it, people are somehow coming to the table and somehow this time it's different. We just got to stop being clowns. It's not different this time. All right. We may not end up seeing the massive drawdown, so to speak, but the 4-year cycle, the actual cycle of exuberance, despair, and anger, and all those things, the typical human emotions that have plagued us throughout the history of existence of humans, still happening. It's all still happening. That's my case against the dead 4-year cycle. Who's up for? Who wants to go against it?
No, I would encourage people to go look up the circular chart by, what is it, the carrot? I forget what his name is. Gosh, it's the Bitcoin carrot.
Rational root.
Rational root.
Yes.
Because the carrot is a root. It's a brilliant logo. I love it. But it's like
carrot is a root.
Once you pass that quadrant of that circle and it's no longer red, then we'll talk. And when it's no longer red by at least 6 months, because there's variance. We have no indication that this cycle is different. If anything, everything, it looks exactly like cycles in the past, with enough variance to allow for the free market. What's important to realize also is that with all these companies, no matter how they're acquiring Bitcoin, because we have to admit that they are acquiring it. They're not throwing $1 billion down for $1 billion of Bitcoin. All right. So there may be some fraction, but for the most part, they're exchanging the Bitcoin for shares in the company with the people who are providing them the Bitcoin. Let's make that the base case, and let's see them prove that wrong. Okay. Even with all these companies that own all these Bitcoin, 6% of the entire network is owned by companies. So when you think about all the money that's out there with all these degen traders with the NFT and the cartoon pictures on Twitter, you see them all the time, and they're living life, and life is funny, and it doesn't matter why, because they all have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Bitcoin, and they're just effing around. And when they decide the bull market is over, they can dump as much as they want and laugh their way to your despair, because you thought that a few companies, 130 companies buying 6% of the supply was going to change something. I got news for you. 6% don't move much. 6% does not move much when 60% wants to move something. So figure that. So take heed to that warning, because I ain't been wrong much. J-Dub can answer that when it comes down to my predictions of the NBA champions the last 2 years. Holla at me. I know you're going to complain. Let me see that chat in the comments, bro. Anyways, I'm done.
All right. Humble.
All right. Yeah. No, I think the trickle down effect will be extreme if there's a little bit of fear. I think that a lot of people, since they don't actually understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin, these larger holders will just be like, okay, well, they did it. I mean, I'm getting out. Then everyone starts getting out. So I don't know how it's any different. I agree with what you had to say, Ulrich and Phil.
It's going to be very interesting, right? Because no matter what, right, whether we're right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because we're going to see what's going to play out, and we're going to find out what parts of what we think are accurate and which parts aren't. But for me right now, it just seems like the song remains the same. You know, like I get that there's a whole bunch more people hanging out in the crowd, and I get that there's a whole bunch of new vendors selling hot dogs and pretzels, but the song remains the same.
It remains the same, but the people that are in it now, I mean, wouldn't you say that a larger percentage of them don't actually understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah.
And they don't understand these cycles. So
I mean, look,
a little bit scarier.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, because we spend enough time in all these different spaces, like we're at the point where people are just convincing themselves that holding shares of Misty, which is a completely separate product that has nothing to do with MSTR, and just, you're getting yield on it while your share price actually goes down, and doing all these calculations and mental gymnastics to figure out how somehow this is better than holding Bitcoin. I'm sorry.
Well, if they're doing both, I mean,
I get it.
And Misty is I'm funding Misty. Me as a MicroStrategy shareholder, all the dividends are coming from the shareholders, and that's a pyramid scheme about it. So and everyone seems to think that that's just okay, normal. I understand if they're making revenue elsewhere, but their revenue, you are the exit liquidity. Like, that's never been more clear with all of these products that MicroStrategy has been shilling. And it wasn't like that in 2020 or 2021. I mean, they asked Machinsky, where does the yield come from? Remember, Machinsky said, where does the yield? Who was it? Yeah. Was it Saif Dian? Was it
Tone Vays? Yeah.
It was Tone Vays.
Where does the yield come from?
That was such a great interview.
I know where the yield comes from for MicroStrategy. It's me. So if we're okay, if that's the Bitcoin way, if this is the hard money world, if this is the Austrian economics world, Michael Saylor is not an Austrian economist. That's for damn sure. So I guess Bitcoin isn't as Austrian as I thought it was. Man, it's rough.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you know what? Since we're talking about yield, let's do it. Let's do it. That's right. We're getting into before before we were talking about. Oh, sorry, you had that up. My bad.
I put it up. Give him his shine. Give him his shine.
Sweet. He deserves it. So yeah, that's right. On the heels of the yield, right? It is Stablecoin Summer, and that's right. Who is it? BTC Moon Guy. He wants to earn some yield. Let's go. All right, let's do it. Stablecoin Summer. How many of the? Okay, here we go. These are the tweets for Stablecoin Summer. Tether reports a net profit of $4.9 billion in Q2 and becomes one of the largest holders of U.S. Treasuries with $127 billion in holdings. Now, something that's kind of interesting about that one, Tether's actually never been independently audited, right? Like, they've got those 3 audit reports on their website, or 4 now at this point. But those aren't independent. I mean, so and again, right? I'm not one of those people who's trying to be like a Tether truther or anything like that. Tether's a corporation. They're issuing a stable coin. They're doing whatever corporate shenanigans they want to do. I don't really care. I don't think that Tether printing props up the price of Bitcoin. That's not how that works. And for the people that think that, I need to remind you that Bitcoin existed before Tether did. And it already had a nominal value based on people buying and selling it in markets. Anyways, so all that to say, Tether is just playing the game the best. right? Like that, like, let's be honest. Like when it comes to the stable coins, I think the Tether is playing the game the best, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to have competition, right? So say hello to Stable, which is pretty much, I think, just Tether again, but through a subsidiary. Like everything is Tether. So they've raised $28 million in a seed round, funding led by Bitfinex and Hack VC to launch Stable, the first dedicated layer stable chain optimized for USDT payment. Isn't that Tether?
So is that a competition for Tether, or is it a competition for Tron? Because this, as far as I know, I think Tether is the layer one for Tether right now.
I think this is to facilitate Tether,
right,
or to facilitate liquid Tether.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm glad I don't know all this crypto stuff.
Anyways, it's Stablecoin Summer. That's all we need to know. And
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. One last picture, and then we can discuss. It's always for me the crowning endorsement is when you see the Bitcoin influencers, right? Like Mark Moss going and letting you know how the stable coins are going to fix everything in the future. Because guess what? Apparently, right, once equities become tokenized, STRC, which is Strategy's newest product, will essentially be a stable coin. And a stable coin that fundamentally backed by BTC will outcompete all other stable coins backed by fiat currency. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old, but I remember there was a stable coin that was backed by Bitcoin that went under. I remember a few of them that went under. Why is this different?
Well, they didn't because they didn't deploy more capital. They were supposed to deploy more capital and stay steady, lads, but they didn't.
Stay stable. Yeah.
Steady, lads, and everything will be fine.
I like the stable. That was pretty cool. They got at stable, like that was available on X. That's nice.
Their bags are going to pump just for the name alone. Let's be honest.
I think so. It's appealing. Yeah, works for me.
But
there's
that's
no
the
point behind it, so any of that context, it's just like, oh, stable. Good word.
But they're going to sell shares. So that's how they're going to make their money, right? So that's where we're at, guys. I mean, this is really where we are. The government, stable coins, right? And of course, the government is not going to issue a CBDC. They've made that commitment. It's written into law. No CBDCs. But here are your stable coins from the officially validated, or whatever I want to, I'm not even sure what word I'm approved. Thank you. The officially approved corporations, right?
Well,
That's
so Wyoming, I saw something today that Wyoming has one, right? Isn't that right? You see that?
I did not see the one about Wyoming.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can
find about the banks all coming together to make their own. I think it was Key Corporation said that last week, the CEO. They're all coming together. No CBDC, of course, but they're all going to make their own stable coin. So, yeah. Anyways, more financialization, right? Let's continue on. We've got more financialization on the way. Okay, very quick. This was at the beginning of the month. Let's just talk about it fast. The SEC approved the in-kind redemptions. Look, if there was anybody telling you that you as a retail pleb were going to be able to just sell your shares of iBit and just hand them a Bitcoin address for them to send you your corn, that's not how any of this shit is working. Okay, that's not how any of that stuff is working. All it is that the what are they called? The approved participants, right? Essentially Wall Street and who they approve, they're going to be able to redeem their shares for Bitcoin in kind. So institutions and their approved player list. So
why would it allow you to exit the system?
Yeah, it's a giant nothing burger for the retail investor. However, I do think it at the very least gives us some visibility, or will give us visibility into which of these investment institutions actually want to be custodying Bitcoin. And maybe that's some helpful information. right? Give us a better idea.
Well, I also think that the demographic that's good for the institutions, right? If they actually want to, that's funny. It's like, hey, you can only buy, you can't buy from Coinbase. You have to buy, IBIT. Okay, well, we'll just buy IBIT and give us our Bitcoin. Like, that's pretty nice. But I will say that the demographic, the marketing profile, if you will, of a person, of an individual who wants to go buy IBIT, FBTC, the last thing they're thinking about when it's time to make a transaction is their in-kind redemption. They're going to be saying, I want the cash, bro. Suit coiners who buy ETFs as a part of their personal portfolio, not their 401k, that those people are not there for, to cold storage their Bitcoin. Once they're done with that ETF, they just want the dollars. So it's a nice nuance for to say that, oh, we made it, but the people who are buying ETFs, they're not even about that game anyways.
All right, I did send I sent one of the posts over. It's in the Telegram chat because I'm in my upstairs area, so I can't log into my X. It won't allow me to. But yeah, so the state of Wyoming is trying to create a stable coin. Does that ring a bell at all? No? Okay.
No, I just got your post. I'm gonna share this.
Okay, so then there was another one. This was 11 hours ago. Thrilled to share WyoPay by Xova has joined the Wyoming Stable Token pilot program. We've already integrated an alpha version of the Wyoming Stable Token on Avalanche Fuji testnet, and we'll be opening in public beta soon. Yeah, interesting. There's all you have to do is kind of search that up, Wyoming stablecoin info. There's some more recent information.
So not a CBDC, but a state-created stablecoin. Seems like crap. Definitely seems like crap.
So it'll be interesting to see what the definition of a stable coin is to the government. I'm sorry, a CBDC is to the government, because I think what they are probably calling it the most dystopian, horrible structure that you possibly could know. If it's not the CBDC that China is running, then we don't have to call it a CBDC. Or guess what? If it's not actually created by a central bank, then it's not a CBDC. So if it's just issued by the state, can it really be called a central bank digital currency?
Well, in that little excerpt that was in there, didn't it say something where they don't have to follow certain federal regulations? That's what they had mentioned in there.
It's all shenanigans. It's all part of the I hate referring to that book, but just like a broken clock, right? Nassim Taleb was right about a few things. And his book, The Bed of Procrustes, 100% expresses what the government does with technologies that they don't understand or can't fully grasp, and they're doing it with Bitcoin, right? Like, this is why we're seeing what we're seeing. This is why we're seeing adoption take the form that it's taking, because in my eyes, right, the banking, or the bankers and government and whatnot, like, they're essentially attempting to shoehorn this particular product, right, into their frame, and that's the only way they can understand this thing is through their frame. So it's like they're gonna cut off the legs, we're gonna cut off the head, we're gonna do everything we can to fit this thing, and then this is Bitcoin, and then these are stable coins, and you'll see, it's not going to work, but hey, it's going to allow them to kick the can down the road. It's going to allow them to kick the can down the road. The markets are going to continue to boom and bust like they always have. This is just going to be the, kind of like the nature of the beast. What I realized? I didn't show our cool little intro video. Yeah, he called you Lenny Kravitz. You're muted.
Who are they talking about? Are they talking about Phil?
No, they're talking about you.
Me?
Yeah. Wow. The glasses, the hair. Come on. Why would Lenny Kravitz? You think he's bald?
Hey.
Yeah. Phil, you did get a comment on your glasses earlier, though. Did you see that?
No. Yeah. Jay just said he liked your glasses.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
The other ones, I agree. Yep.
When is he bringing back the ones from 2022? That's the question.
That's over. No. Those are done. That was a phase. I told you I had to go through that. It was had to be done. But yeah, I even reached out to the manufacturer of these, what's it called? Black flies. I have their sticker right here. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I'm like, I do a YouTube show. Maybe you want to sponsor the show. I wear your glasses and people have liked them. I think I got my cousin to buy a pair. But anyways, yeah, I love them and it's good times. Okay, moving on away from fashion, back to, because we're going to wrap this up soon too. We had 75 topics, but we're only going to be able to cover 10 because we talk about shit for too long, and that's okay. That's okay. That's just who we are. But yeah, I definitely want to cover some other fun stuff here. Okay, let's go. Okay, this is a good one right here. That's right. The tool of all streets. Bitcoin is amazing, but it's obviously been co-opted to some degree by the very people that it was created as a hedge against, because not anybody can use Bitcoin, right? It's only the approved parties. This is what happens with shitcoiner logic. Anyways, many of the most ardent early whales have seen their faith shaken and have been selling at these prices. Oh, I feel his pain. I genuinely do. Scott Melker and the violin. It's, oh, poor Scott. The OGs. The OGs are going away. They're selling all their bags. That's just a nonsense bullshit take to incite FUD. And every time I see accounts like his, right? Like, well, how many followers does he have? Like over 100K followers that listen to that. Like, it's just pure slop. Like day in and day out. I feel so bad for anyone that actually takes this guy seriously. But
you can say that about a lot of Bitcoin influencers.
Oh, no, of course I can. But we're talking about the tool of, I was about to call him the turd of all streets, but the tool of all streets. It's just absolutely brutal. And look, if you think that you would hold Bitcoin from $30 per coin all the way to 125K, okay, that's easy in hindsight. Okay, in hindsight, every investment you made, you bought the bottoms and sold the tops. In hindsight, every move was always perfect. That's how hindsight works. Okay, so yes, of course, you would have bought the $30 Bitcoin and you would have waited magically to 125K or even 400K or who knows what, because that would have been the perfect time. But that's not how humanity works. That's not how people work. All right. A lot of these guys, right? Some of these guys who bought Bitcoin at 30 and 50 bucks, they've been here a long time. Right. And guess what? Like I said before, we don't live forever. So at some point, I know it sounds crazy, people are going to want to exchange their Bitcoin for upgrades in their lives and things they want to do. Oh my God, crazy things being said. That happens, And when they do that, they're going to sell, right? They're going to exchange their Bitcoin for fiat, or they're going to exchange their Bitcoin for a specific product and service or service. This is just normal. Okay, this is not OGs with their faith shaken that Bitcoin has failed because a bunch of hedge fund guys and banking dudes are scared of their own jobs and are now figuring out ways to shoehorn Bitcoin into their system. This is not Bitcoin failing. So, all right. You can see I don't like Scott.
I mean, if anything, it shows that the Bitcoin, the Bitcoin that is being sold right now, like someone is looking to create or to find incentives to go get something else. Whether, like you said, whether it's a car, a house, another currency, a shitcoin. If they say, hey, I want to make a gain on Solana because I'm playing with house money. And if they want to gamble, they have the right to gamble. If they want to take some money out and go play some poker, they play with house money. But it's the cult-like phenomenon that happens on Twitter, of course, where it's like you're not supposed to sell for anything. You're not supposed to have any chairs. Everyone talks about how bad their car is. Everyone talks about how they're so poor. All the Bitcoin influencers that you watch, that your algorithm forces you to watch, they're all rich. Okay, they're all rich. They're all rich before Bitcoin.
I know.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have time to just sit there and talk to you about Bitcoin because they have to work. Okay, I mean, like, look how often you see my stuff down with the underground. I release a video once every 2 to 3 weeks. Why? Because I have to take my ass to work. But all the people you see every day, and they say, oh, yeah, Bitcoin. And they've been here since 2019, 2020. They didn't get rich on Bitcoin. And the people that got rich on Bitcoin, the ones that you don't even know about, they're just watching from the sidelines. Guess what? For them, it worked. Bitcoin worked for them. And also, if Bitcoin was co-opted by all the institutions, then why does my node still validate the transactions? Why is my node still validate my transaction? Why is the code not changed yet? Why are there no tail emissions? Because that would benefit the institutions. So it seems like the Scott Melker guy doesn't understand what it means to have a decentralized network. It just seems like he's another fiat shill who thinks in a fiat way. The more you have, I have my banker buddy talks like this all the time. Oh, like Michael Saylor, he's going to control the network. He doesn't control the network.
Yeah.
It's like, how does he control the network? How does he change the network? That's not the network, dummy. But guess what? Guess what? They don't get it because they've been schooled in this Keynesian authoritarian dynamic where he who has the money makes all the rules. Not this network. Thank goodness Satoshi figured that one out. He saw that in the other one. It's like, we're going to make sure that if someone just happens to have 10 million Bitcoin, he still can't change the rules.
Very well said. Humble, any thoughts on this one?
No. And then I prefer to save time. No, I don't. I think he used the wrong wording. I think he maybe, if it was someone else, maybe he's trying to get a different point across, but because of who he is, I'm sure he's, it's just an engagement tweet.
But I genuinely think he believes this crap. Like I've seen him talk live and stuff like that. Like it's not just engagement. Like somewhere in there's the real scared little person that thinks these ridiculous thoughts. So anyways, but to your point, it is definitely, I do also think it is for engagement as well. Like he knows that those types of things definitely get him engaged.
Yeah, it would. It gets people. It gets all the people that hate engagement. The people say, "No, you're wrong." The people who know he's wrong, ignore him. Like we can talk about him here, but we should be ignoring this type of stuff. You know, when you go on, say what?
That's a double-edged sword. That's a double-edged sword. I've had.
Oh yeah, that's right. You argue against that one. That's right.
It's like if we don't say anything, right, then it becomes, that point of view becomes unchallenged.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's not fair. So at the very least, I say we give the opposing view and let people figure it out, right? Like I'm not telling you, hey, you have to believe me that this guy is a scammer. I'm saying, hey, I don't think what he's saying is necessarily accurate. Here's why. And you go do whatever the hell you want, right? It's the free market. I'm all about that.
Yeah, and they do get a lot of marketability for their tweets. That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, in all fairness, I took a screenshot of his tweet. I didn't retweet him, so he didn't get paid.
Yeah, I know that's your strategy, right? When you don't want to give the engagement, you will screenshot and you'll talk about it, right?
Exactly. I think it's also engagement tweet season. I think that's something we should add in here. It definitely is.
All right, this is gonna be the last topic we're gonna hit. All right, guys. Even though we had so many more, it's like impossible. But I think we covered a lot of the main stuff here for the monthly. All right, so look, the last topic we're gonna do is so this was a tweet from Mandrick, if I can find it. Okay, is it this one? Hold on a second. I'm sorry, guys. There's always like, could have swore I saved that. Huh.
Mandrick.
Yeah,
it was about like who's a Bitcoiner? Being a Bitcoiner comes down to one thing.
Yeah, being a Bitcoiner comes down to one thing.
Let's see.
And it's like, and he said, I don't want to be told what to do. Like you don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there it is. Hold on. I think I just found it. Yep, there it is. Okay, hold on. I will just pull this up so everybody can see this for context. Damn it.
People are still watching, waiting for it. It's like, man, what a teaser. It's like, we want to see it. We want to see it. I'm like, the numbers aren't going down.
You know, I have like 3 screens.
He says, show's over.
No, it's not. BT Spoon guy, just wait. There's more.
No, it's ticking down. Phil, you're ruining me.
I'm ruining it. I'm sorry. It's okay. No.
I thought I was going to be a star.
It's okay. No, we're
talking. It went back up. It's moving like Bitcoin.
We're talking about Bitcoin. We're not going to be stars. Okay, that's just not the way. If you want to be a star, you go to Hollywood. You know what to do next.
Or I say, I have this great company for you to buy that's buying Bitcoin.
You know what? Technically, we can all use our personal Bitcoin stashes as Bitcoin treasury, like cannon fodder. Like we can go to them and be like, "Give me a bunch of shares, and I'll give you my Bitcoin." There you go. You know, and then I'll go and dump them. No, but see, that's the thing. I won't do that.
That's right.
Okay, so here we go. So Mandrick had to say, he said, being a Bitcoiner comes down to one thing. You don't like being told what to do. Okay, I appreciate that take. Who wants to go first? I go first all the time and nobody ever says anything, so I'll shut up.
Go ahead, Humble.
Oh, now I
now we're gonna put you on the spot again.
Now, second isn't second. There is no second. Okay, fine.
First is the worst, second is the best. Did we all say that?
Yeah.
Third is the.
That was a Gen X thing.
Third is the what?
Third
Third is the one with the hairy chest. Okay, let's go.
I think we had different things.
I think we did too.
Yeah,
it's probably more creative. So Bitcoiners don't like being told what to do? Absolutely not. We do not like being told what to do. I think, it's very spend a day in spaces with people and you'll find out real quick that it's like no Bitcoiners don't like being told what to do. That's for sure. Like to push back against everything. But I think it's I don't know. I mean, questioning everything is, I think that's something that's kind of innate, and a lot of people that first get into Bitcoin, and people who are here for the revolution, certainly that's what it is. The ones that are just sticking around because that's, So I concur, Mandrick.
Okay. Yeah, I like a lot of Mandrick's takes. Ulrich, your thought?
I'm laughing at what the purple nurple. What is the? I don't know what the purple.
You don't know what that is?
Nurple, I know what that is. Yeah.
That's when they twist.
A certain body part. Yeah.
Body parts. Yeah. Certain body parts. You twist them and they hurt.
Yeah.
Oh no! We call that something different. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's probably sexual assault now.
But
back then it was just kids being kids.
Yeah.
Like, ow.
But yeah, like you don't like being told what to do. Like I could see like a contrarian come in and it's like, I don't like you telling me that this is what Bitcoiners believe. Like someone would come in and say, Bitcoiner, you can't define what a Bitcoiner is. But like by them coming in to say that, they are validating what Mandrick just said. And in order for you to actually understand what Bitcoin is, there are people who've been exposed to Bitcoin for years and they don't have it baked into themselves to truly adopt it from a spiritual, a mental, an emotional standpoint. Which is you have to be okay with telling everyone around you that they're wrong. It's the meme, where you have that one guy facing the crowd and it's like, yes, you're all wrong. Everything about everything in your day is going to tell you that this doesn't mean a thing. You're going to walk around in the midst of a bull market and all these normies outside, they just don't care. They don't care that we all thought that Bitcoin was going to be the talk of the town when it reached 6 figures. It's even less of a talk of the town from four years ago when it hit $50,000, or when it hit $20,000 4 years before that. I remember when that happened, when I first got in, or at least I was doing a crypto, and it's like no one, like people, that was more interesting back then when Trump was banning, say we don't, dollar hegemony. So now it's like it's silence, and Trump is supporting Bitcoin allegedly. Everything about everything about Bitcoin flies in the face of your normal everyday reality. And when it boils down to it, like your normal everyday reality is telling you to think and believe something. Instagram, you turn on Instagram, what is it telling you to pay attention to? You turn on YouTube, JD Vance just told America that he's going to be looking into UFOs. Why? What's the distraction for this time? We have to stop listening to our overlords, even less than we do now, in order to deal with all the reasons that they'll throw at us to give our Bitcoin away. It is truly the best asset that you're going to run into for the last 1,000 years and the next 1,000 years. So consider yourself lucky to have this opportunity, because you could drop it.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there in multiple places. So when I first saw this tweet, the first thing I thought of was that he's talking about personal freedom, right? Like, you don't like being told what to do. So for me, that it's not even I don't know, maybe I'm going too far with it, but it's like, it's not even about necessarily being a Bitcoiner. It's about being a freedom maximalist, right? It's about being a personal freedom maximalist. And so for me, like that's kind of what it's about. It's not even about like being a Bitcoiner. Like, it just so happens that because you desire freedom to the maximum capacity, when something like Bitcoin comes along, you recognize those features as helping to enable that end goal of personal freedom. So yeah, that's kind of where my head was at, with that one. But again, it's all along the same lines of what you guys were saying. We're just kind of saying it all in different ways, right? And from kind of like different angles. But it's the same thing. Like, at the end of the day, we're freedom maximalists, and Bitcoin is the tool that enables personal freedom to the highest degree. Oh, nice. Got HGX. Come on. There you go. That's awesome.
Take them to church.
I appreciate it. But yeah. So anything else on that topic? Anything else? Any last thoughts on that? No? All right.
That could be a very lengthy conversation.
Oh yeah. I mean, it could be, but we've already gone for almost 2 hours here. So
Yeah,
it's time to go sit in front of another screen and veg out. But guys, this has been an absolutely awesome episode. Any final words here on the episode? Humble, we'll start with you. Anything you want to share? Anything you want to say? Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna go first again.
Oh boy. Yeah, let's see. There was a lot that we talked about. I like the ending, that Bitcoiners don't like being told what to do, because that's absolutely the truth. I was thinking while you were talking, like, I think if you were to take a poll of how many of us were considered or are considered the black sheep of the family, yeah, I think most of us probably are, like, just always questioning, always, just inquisitive minds pushing back. It's like, but why? I think a lot of Gen Xers were brought up with this, you ask a question for why you received a certain punishment, because of course most of us were to be seen and not heard. And it's like, well, because I said so. It's like, well, that is the dumbest thing I've ever, what? Like, like, we grew up with that. But generationally speaking, that doesn't extend to other generations as much, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's a cool club to be a part of here.
I agree.
Even though we're going to say we're not, there's no club, there's no community.
There's no community.
There's no community. There's no club.
There's plenty of clubs.
Yeah.
There's plenty of clubs. I'm not in a lot of them, but there's plenty of them.
but if there's a recruitment campaign, it's like, yeah, were you the black sheep of your family, or are you now? Maybe you want to learn about Bitcoin. I'll show you the way, It's like, it's the best marketing campaign right there. Get people's attention, obviously you go beyond that, but that's it. That's all I got.
You just made me think of the meme with the guy with the trench coat, and he's holding all the, and he's got all the shit coins and like the watches and stuff, and it's like, I've got a great deal.
Yeah.
Want some Bitcoin. Ulrich, any final thoughts here before we wrap up?
Thank you for having me, guys. Don't forget to like share this video and others from the Pleb Underground. Appreciate all of y'all sticking with us. It was a great show. Make sure you check out my interview with Jeff Booth that I had now a week ago. It was pretty good, pretty profound. You know how I bring that heat, and Jeff Booth was okay as well. No, I'm just playing. It was a fun conversation, and it would be sad if y'all missed it. Looking forward to seeing y'all next month.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, guys, that wraps up this month's monthly. I don't know. I got to find some better way to explain that, right? But anyways, yeah, that wraps up this monthly episode of Pleb Underground. Guys, going to upload this to audio only. It's going to be up on Apple Podcasts. It is going to be on Spotify. If you so desire to support the show, you can check us out on fountain.fm. That does it for us. I will definitely catch you guys tomorrow with a daily vid covering a daily live show covering whatever is going on in the Bitcoin space tomorrow. But yeah, otherwise, we will catch you next month on another very spicy roundtable. Have a good evening. Peace.